All right, I'm gonna try this out and see how good I am. I don't promise to be very good at all. I've never been much of a rapper. I say hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop. You don't stop. I rock it to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogity beat. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat. And me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. See, I'm Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello to the black, to the white, to the red, and the brown, the purple, and the yellow. But first, I gotta bang, bang the boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the bang, bang boogity. Let's rock, don't you stop. Rock the rhythm, and that make your body rock. Well, so far you heard my voice. But I brought two friends along, and next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on, Hank, sing that song. All right, so that is my mangled version of some of the lyrics, the first verse of Rappers Delight, uh-huh, of Rappers Delight, and that is one of the absolute classics, 1979, um, from Sugar Hill Gang, the first rap song that goes what we might consider to be somewhat mainstream, right? This is the first song that gets any kind of real traction, any kind of real production and push. And so, as a result thereof, we still listen to Rappers Delight, and those of us who were not even born know Rappers Delight and are, in fact, delighted when it comes on. And I had a purpose as to why I began today with that song, and we'll kind of get into that here in just a second. But as mentioned yesterday, hip hop is difficult to define, but there are four elements that most people identify as the soul of hip hop. And when I say the soul, obviously, I'm not talking about it in the same way that we think about salvation and or redemption, but the kind of the crux, the meat of what hip hop is. And those four elements are rapping, DJing, breakdancing, and graffiti art. I'll repeat that: rapping, DJing, breakdancing, and graffiti art. Hip hop icon KRS-One, on the other hand, instead of going with four, he expands his definition to nine. So he adds five more. So he identifies breaking, which is breakdancing, MCing, rap, which is rap, graffiti art, aerosol art, DJing, beatboxing, right? We didn't hear beatboxing in the first one. And you can't forget about Dougie Fresh, right? And the show, along with Slick Rick, beatboxing, street fashion, street language, street knowledge, and street entrepreneurialism. Street entrepreneurialism. We typically only think about one in rap, right? And so this is why yesterday I really wanted to kind of begin to make this distinction between rap and hip hop, that the two are not synonymous, that rap really is only one aspect of hip hop. Um, so it is hip hop has always been much larger than the music. It was also about what the music made you do, right? Which was dance, and not just any kind of dance, but breaking, which is hard to define. But it has morphed into its own form. It is the dancer contorting his or her body, sometimes spinning, other times doing movements to the beat of the movement. It is called breaking for this reason because it typically occurs or would occur during those times, in those early times, during the break portion of the music when the beat is most evident and there may be no lyrics. Uh, Breaking is one of those forms of dance that I have always admired, the way in which people are literally able to take their bodies and make them do what they want to do with their bodies. Watching someone spin on their back, spinning on their head on a piece of cardboard, or doing the pop locking and those kinds of things. not twerking, not we're not there yet, but talking about breaking and this true kind of form, if you will, of hip hop dancing to the beat, nonetheless. But also the other thing about breaking, which is different from a lot of forms of dancing, is that in many ways it helps to form even another beat, right? It has it's to the beat of the music, right? But then it also has another beat, and so in doing so, it kind of creates, if you were to hear the breaking, um, it creates kind of a syncopation, right? Which is multiple syncopation. We're talking about multiple beats going on all at the same time. Um, and the like, which is a characteristic not just of hip hop music, but of black music in general. Um, Hip hop is not unique in this way, but it does speak to a general playfulness and playful imagination of black people, in particular poor and oppressed blacks, to see worth in old records as we think about these elements. Um, these elements in old records, that's what they're taking. They're taking old records, record players, large speakers. People are dancing on boxes that have been broken down, so they're dancing in the street on cardboard, right? Cardboard slabs for breaking. Aerosol paint, right? Nobody does anything really of worth with aerosol paint. Um, all of the famous painters, do you use oil? Do you use acrylic? No, we use aerosol paint, right? And clothing that at one point in history, right, and still, right, clothing that is still considered to be taboo as we think about hip hop culture and the way in which it has influenced clothing and the way not only clothing is marketed, but the kinds of clothing that people wear. It has often been looked at very negatively. Um, and so it is a part of the ethos, I think, of what it means to be black, right? Of what it considers to be black, to even want to kind of do one's own thing, and in some ways, not necessarily, and to do one's own thing and to be proud of doing one's own thing. Um, as you think about it, I consider hip hop's connection with the blues, rock and roll, and spirituals as all of these different genres of music, um, and as they come even with their own cultures, um, is a reminder of the creative genius that is often produced from the most despicable circumstances. Jeff Chang makes this connection to the past, right? So hip hop is not something that just kind of springs up. It is intimately connected to the past. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to talk more about the ways in which hip hop or rap music in particular has appropriated um, music from the past, the sounds from the past, but clearly, definitely, there are lines of connection with hip hop, its culture, as well as the music to those cultures and those things from the past. Jeff Chang, the writer of, I'm going to go really quickly. Jeff Chang makes this connection to the past. He writes, talking about DJ Kool Herc had stripped down and let go of everything, save the most powerful basic elements: the rhythm, the motion, the voice, the name. In doing so, he summoned up a spirit that had been there at Congo Square and in Harlem and on Wakirka Hill. The new culture seemed to whirl backwards and forward, a loop of history. History as loop calling and responding, leaping, spinning, renewing. Right? He's talking about this. I mean, the when I read that for me, and one the word pictures that are coming to mind in terms of talking about this loop, leaping, spinning, responding, calling and responding, this notion of call and response, right, that is so prevalent in the African American tradition, in the African, really, we might say, the African tradition, in which one speaks, and then one is supposed to be spoken back to by those whom heard the person give the call. So the call and response, this antiphonal kind of way of communication between a speaker and his or her audience, right? And obviously, those of you who are churchgoers know this idea of the call and response very well. For in some churches where there is a lack of call and response, these are said to be dead churches, or churches in which they are trying to be white and all those kinds of things. But this call and response, and this is certainly present within hip hop, but then also in terms of literally hip hop being something in which this is even about, right, fun, right, and the call and response and the spirit that happens as a result of when I speak and then you speak back. When I say DJ, you say hurt, DJ hurt, DJ hurt, right, right. And now there's a certain kind of energy that is created as a result of me calling and then you responding back to me, right? This almost kind of a whipping into the frenzy in the same way, right? Not the same way, but similar to the way a preacher may get at the end of his or her sermon and find themselves saying, if you're with me, say yeah, and then yeah, and then say yeah, yeah, and then and then here comes the holler, right? In the same way, this is going on in hip hop in another kind of way. Um, one of my most favorite examples of that call and response within hip hop is from one of those songs that dropped when I was a young pup, um, and it's simply by DJ Cool, talking about "Let me clear my throat." Oh, have mercy, babe. Don't mind. Let me clear my throat. And there's this break in the song, in which then the MC grabs the mic and he's like, "For all my ladies in the house, make some noise." Oh, right. And this is hip hop, right? This is hip hop at its finest, in which the crowd is participating. There's a synergy between the MC, the DJ, right? These quote unquote artists, the dancers, right? And then also those who are listening to listening to the music. This is reminiscent, but for those of you who are history buffs, and this is what Chang's point is in terms of talking about the spirit that had been there at Congo Square in Harlem and on Waikiri Hill. Obviously, we're very familiar with the latter two, but for those of you who if you've ever been to New Orleans, then you know about Congo Square. Perhaps you've read about Congo Square. If you've never been to New Orleans, if you get the opportunity to go, I go to the Congo Square. It is a feeling like there are not many things I think that compare to the feeling that one has in a place like Congo Square. Congo Square, just so that you don't know, if you don't know, Congo Square is a location in the city of New Orleans where those Africans who were enslaved would come on Sunday afternoons after finished working, after perhaps being made to go to church or sometimes voluntarily going to church, and they would come to this square and there would be someone beating the drum and others, right, would be dancing. Now, imagine these are people from they're different people, right? Now we look at them when we say black, but the truth of the matter is you've got Bantu, you've got Yoruba, you've got Igbo, you've got all these different kinds of people. You have those who would become Congolese, right? But then also then you have those who come even in New Orleans from the islands, in particular from Haiti, which had a very vibrant slave trade, right? And here they are at Congo Square, right? Can you imagine this? And they are calling and responding, and they are dancing to the beat. The beat is going, and they are dancing. They are dancing, and they are calling, and they are responding. They are responding, and they are calling, and they are dancing. And this is the same thing, right? As we think about hip hop and what happens with hip hop and its trajectory of creation, we're going to get into that in a second. In terms of being created really in open spaces, right? This not happening behind closed doors. It's not being created in the studio. It's happening in real time. Folk coming together while they're able to relax from a hard days of work. Those persons who are oppressed, those persons who are in situations of economic blight, persons who find themselves, their lives being undervalued and overwatched, right? That there is always a certain surveillance, even when they come to Congo Square to dance, right? There's the notion that Mas and them is still watching, and the same thing that's happening here in the park, right? That you're out in the open, right? But then there's still this ever uh, police presence that is happening, right? So you have so many different things that are in common in the same way as he talks about Harlem and then the kind of synergy that happened between artists and their audiences and Wakir Kahil and these kinds of places in which there's a great spirit that arises, a great spirit of the time in which creativity, imagination are birthed, and um, they give presence to something that is special, something that's special. So this is what Chang is getting at here. Hip hop truly uh, truly transcended a location of urban in this way, right? It transcended a location of urban abandonment and dwindling resources, but it was really just about having fun. I mean, it was about having fun. Folk going to the park. Let's put on some music. Let's dance. We don't want no trouble. We don't want no fighting. We don't want any violence, but let's just have a good time, right? KRS-One also had this to say about it. Hip hop is not just music and dance, nor is hip hop a product to be bought and sold. Discovered by Cool DJ Herc in the Bronx, New York, around 1972 or 1973, depending on who you're talking to, and established as a community of peace, love, unity, and having fun by African Bambaataa through the Zulu Nation in 1974. Hip hop is an independent and unique community, an empowering behavior, and an international culture. End quote. That's KRS-One. KRS gives Herc, DJ Kool Herc, the credit as the founder, or at least one of the founders of hip hop. This is traced to a party in the West Bronx that Herc's sister threw to make money to buy back to school clothes. Imagine, imagine this. I mean, right? Imagine that this global phenomenon, this what we know of, that which has literally helped to take the world by storm, started because there was a teenage girl who wanted to look good when she went back to school. It's phenomenal, phenomenal. Despise not the places of small beginnings, right? DJ Kool Herc, whose parents named him Clive Campbell, right? Clive Campbell, that's his real name, is a Jamaican by birth who immigrated to the U.S. in 1968. There he arrived into the circumstances that we talked about yesterday. This urban blight, this deindustrialization that is taking place at this time. Abandoned buildings, buildings that have been set on fire, gangs that are now stepping in to broken down social constructions and norms, and to help to provide security and safety at times, but then also, right, to make money and to prey upon those who have not banded together or that they consider to be weaker, right? And Herc actually, as he grew, joins a gang, but decides it's not for him. It's not his thing to be in amongst the crowd. He wants to be an individual. He noticed that his leadership potential was attempted to be tapped by those who were in higher authority within the gang and said, they're trying to use my voice because they don't really have one of their own, and said, I'm going to go another kind of a way. And so decided gang was not for him. He acquired a nickname in school because of his strength, that nickname being Hercules, which he shortened to Herc, and eventually became a DJ. He began DJing. I think it is interesting to know that the father of hip hop, the so-called father of hip hop, was not a rapper but a DJ, right? Right, people don't even DJ anymore, right? A DJ, I mean, that's only on the radio, right? DJ at the party, I mean, they party, but but it's not, the badge of honor that it used to be, right? As you think about Run DMC and Jam Master Jay and all of these famous as just mentioned, DJ Cool, all these famous DJs, right? It's absolutely a huge thing to be a DJ, just as important as being a rapper. Now, anything anybody wants to be is a rapper. I guess because through the computerized beats and the like, they have eliminated the need for a DJ. And so you don't need anybody to break because, as Goody Mob said, they don't dance no more. They don't dance no more. All they do is this. All they do is this. They don't dance no more. They don't dance no more. Y'all remember Goody Mob? Bad boys right there. There's some bad boys. But in any case, right, we don't dance. And that kind of speaks to a whole nother thing. We can continue to talk about that in terms of not dancing and then that creating an atmosphere for other kinds of ways for this pent up anger and aggression to come out, right? Because even as they're dancing, the music in it, right, there's aggression that is there. I mean, these are people who are growing up in a horrible circumstance. These are people who are surviving under horrible circumstances, and yet they dance, right? As opposed to some other kinds of things, at least when they come together in this way. So Herc, right? Getting back to Herc, right? The father of hip hop is not a rapper; he's a DJ. Okay, that's so important, so important. This points to the ways in which much of the culture, right, has been subverted and twisted by large record companies and rappers who just want to get paid, right? And I do put that last part on it because the record companies take a lot of hits. But the truth of the matter is, they wouldn't be able to do anything unless somebody was going along with the program. Okay, that's always important to bear in mind. So rappers who just want to get paid, DJs, not just Hurt, but others as well, were more, right, at this point, they were more important than the MC, more important than the rapper. Um, More important than a rapper because the DJ provided the breaks, and the breaks were the moment of great dancing. That's what it was about, right? Having fun. Let's come together. Let's dance. Let's move. Let's bob, and let's weave. Hurt was the one who invented. And if not invented, certainly the one who best stylistically perfected the break, right? What this allowed him to do and to become is one of the most sought after DJs in all of New York, and in particular, certainly within the Bronx itself. Hurt, right, went from DJing a party so that his sister could get the best back to school clothes to having his own following, from moving from childhood to adulthood, and having persons that are also making that transition, and people who are older than him to also go along with that. Um, to think about this, right? That they began in a rec room, moved to Cedar Park, right? This is what we're talking about. This outdoors, like Congo Square. Let's move. Let's do this thing in Cedar Park, and eventually into clubs and dance halls, making real money, right? Trying to get school clothes to making real money, and putting together his own crew of DJs, rappers, and dancers. And this all happened in a period of about 4 years, right? 1973 to 1977. This guy was on the move, and this is the beginnings, right, of the movement of hip hop. 1973, 1977, and then around 1977, his importance begins to wane as he gets older. Hip hop has always been a youth culture. It has only gotten to the place, really, in so many different ways, that it is becoming more than a youth culture. Uh, Many would say within the last 10 or 15 years. And there's an article in which Jay-Z is sitting down talking with Warren Buffett, in which this article is from about 2000 and, no, 2010. in which Jay-Z says we are now witnessing the maturation of hip hop, right? The maturation of hip hop, and this, certainly goes along with the fact that now at this point you actually have artists who are able to continue to be artists, right? Continue to be artists even though they're 40 years plus, right? Think about Jay-Z, Nas,